forget the library. Thank you.
No. No, we can't forget the library. Calvin Castine at Mooers Elementary. I'm actually standing in the library steps. It's one of the busiest days in Mooers outside of the Labor Day event, Labor Day parade and celebration. This is probably the next biggest day in Mooers is the annual, this is the 16th annual Roxanne Luann Memorial Tournament. Roxanne Dumas and Luann Dragoon. And folks in and around Mooers are always awfully busy. We've just come from a crowded rec park and we're here at the school where there's also a crowd, but this is also the day that was chosen for the opening ceremonies here for the Mooers Free Library in their brand new, almost brand new location. And we're going to wander here and see their opening ceremonies and maybe talk to a person or two. It's been a while since we've been in the building. We came in its early stages. There's a memorial board where people can buy a square. So we thought we'd take a moment and give some credit to the folks who bought the board. There's one with a whole lot of names.
Want to have a wild party? There's an idea.
Recognize you. We've been away only for 5 years.
We get to the lower ones, the reflections.
Oh, well,
You guys were here for 15 years.
Some of these are a memory of. Over here, here's where we were. Being reflected out. I think I didn't skip a row here. I don't know. Last thing I want to do is skip a row.
Yeah, when you're starting projects like this, it's nothing easy, that's for sure, right?
well, this is all
The opening ceremony will be starting shortly. A variety of politicians here.
This is all pretty much clean. Just to prove a point, we can have a new library.
Welcome, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes. Yeah. Good here.
I'll do my best.
Tim Gagnon.
I'm Tim Gagnon. I'm the president of the board for the Mooers Free Library. I want to welcome everybody here and thank you for coming. And I'm going to give you a little quick library history. Mooers Free Library began January 12th, 1917, with a meeting of the Presbyterian Vestry at which the Mooers Free Library Association was formed. The Presbyterian minister, Reverend John Neal Robertson, seems to have been the instigator. Each of the Moores churches were represented on the board of trustees: the Wesleyan Church, the Catholic Church, the Methodists, and the Presbyterian. Money had been contributed by the Grange, by soldiers, and by other friends of the project. 20 people had also donated books. Early locations of the book collection were the Presbyterian Vestry, the Shirt Factory, and rooms over Fitch's store. Some of those names just don't sound familiar. But they sound familiar to somebody. The first provisional charter granted to Mooers Free Library by Board of Regents of the University of State of New York was dated March 1st, 1917. This had to be renewed every 5 years, and finally, in 1974, a permanent charter was granted. In 1930, Mrs. A.K. Bidwell's will left a building site on Main Street, $4,000 for a building and $1,000 to equip it. Although the name Bidwell Memorial Library is on the front of that building, the name was never officially changed from Mooers Free Library. In June of 2012, it was determined that a new library would be built as the former building was not handicap accessible. And I went back into some of the minutes and some of the things that were said at some of the meetings, and there was a gentleman who said that for $50,000 we could build a new library. And that gentleman, turns out, was Harry Gagnon. So I guess I'm supposed to be here to take care of getting this done. The land was donated by Dr. Wayne and Susan Evans. The ground broke in May of 2014 and a shell was erected, but the project was stalled due to lack of funds. In November of 2015, the current board took office and began a brick-by-brick campaign, a capital campaign, that brought in over $45,000, revised an open grant to begin interior work, and secured an additional grant to complete the project. In November of 2017, the doors finally opened to the Mooers Free Library here at 25 School Street. And our new neighbor, Viola Lemire, was the first patron and received the first library card at the new library. And that, I had met up with her son at our class reunion, and he told me that story, that she wanted to be the first person. So when I came back and I told the board, we wanted to make sure that happened, and we were so happy that that actually got a chance to happen before she passed. So we have a great array of dignitaries for you here today, and I'd like to first introduce Jeff Menard, Town of Moore Supervisor.
Welcome, everyone. Been almost 5 years since I've taken the office as supervisor. At that time, this was still a dream. The former board of directors of the library had a vision for something like this. So they started raising funds. They did to raise the money to get this started. And like Tim said, in 2014, they raised enough money to do the shell. And after that, it was a couple years, and things went by, and then the new board came on board, directors, and they took off running. They started raising money, and again, like Tim said, they got enough money to finish this and get it started. But I guess what really stands out in my mind is that this is a community building where a lot of people donated time. Past board members donated their time to work on it, current board members, and a lot of the businesses helped to build this by giving us discount on the materials and the stuff, and companies as far away as Plattsburgh were donating stuff to finish this library. So I guess you could really say it's really a community building, that the community stepped forward and got this going. And I'm very proud of that. And I'm very proud to be here today to present this to the community. It's a great endeavor, and I wish them great luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Rob Guerin, NCCS Superintendent.
thank Art Menard and the board for asking me to be present on this very, very important occasion. The very first thing I was doing as I was coming on the grounds and eventually driving by, for those of you who don't know, I was raised in Mooers, so I moved a very far distance. I'm now in Ross's Point. So I have a community connection in each of our areas, which is very, very special to me. I was actually looking at and seeing Katie Evans, who I've not seen for a number of years, and we actually on the property we are at present, I remember so many hide and seek games, and I don't know if Mr. and Mrs. Evans found a few eggs on Halloween night on this pavement and things like that, but it was definitely an area where we spent a lot of travel time between the school and an area. That's also, I get to an area where we used to be kids. I remember the moments that we didn't live with our cell phones in our hands, and the opportunity to enjoy the hide and seek games with our families and everybody coming together for the purpose of enjoying life and the other things with the world and challenges that happen today. But an effective school brings the outside in. An effective library in any of these community functions brings the outside in. And no greater place to have a distance that you can see two huge areas of important places for growing our children. I just envision a nice little path and a nice little walkway between school and the library, and really hoping that we have a strong partnership to create great, valuable programs that we can work together in our school systems. We always know that the literacy world brings us places, and the value of teaching reading to our children. And I want to thank everybody again for being here today, all of our area representatives. I want to give a special thanks to Mr. Rasco, who's been very involved in spending a great deal of his career working with our students at Mooers Elementary School for being in attendance. But again, a very, very special occasion. And these are areas that for those of you that brought your young ones, I continue celebrating that. These are the special occasions that grow them into being future contributors within their own communities. All these little important dates, little important events that being here, they will become sometimes these future board members. And boy, hats off to all these board members and everything, because it's a lot of work behind the scenes that goes unnoticed. So we recognize and value all you do for our communities. And when the day is done, I always say about the Northeastern Clinton Central School District, obviously I'm biased towards our own school district. When the day's done and people need something, whether through tragedy or events like this, we gather together. We gather together. We have a great, awesome community, and I just couldn't be happier to be part of the product of the community that helped raise me and the foundation that I've been in it to give back. And we have a lot to celebrate. And we have a great youth because of great families and working together. And thank you again for this great, great, great opportunity, and happy to be here. Thank you.
From the Clinton, Essex, and Franklin Library System, the new director, Steve Kenworthy.
Thanks. I had nothing to do with this. I've been here for 2.5 months. Come from out west, but I appreciate the opportunity to come and watch this community come together. If we look at what a community is and how it identifies, there are some things that are almost sacred to a community. A school, a post office, and a library. And this is a place that brings people together in a common interest, regardless of what you, who you vote for, your nationality, or anything else. This is where we can come together. At the Clinton, Essex, Franklin Library System, we pride ourselves on being stealthy. We are behind the scenes. We're there to help all the libraries achieve their own goals. And so it was our privilege to help write the grants, to help administer those grants. We like to bring books in when you order a book that's not at this library. Our services bring it here, and we want to give all the credit to your local library. I want to give credit to my predecessor, Eva? Stick your hand up, Eva. Because she had a lot more to do with this than I did. But I congratulate the community on this wonderful building. Thank you.
The Chairman of the Clinton County Legislature, Mr. Harry McManus.
We did a special resolution for this day, and I'm going to read it in just a minute, but I just wanted to share a couple things with you. It was 50 years ago that I first came up here when I took a job. It was Champlain Central then. We drove through this area in Mooers, and the first year we actually merged was 1972. And I remember we started the Harvard-Model United Nations program that year. And we had some students from Mooers who I didn't know because the merger hadn't taken place yet. And what I found out over the next 48 years or so was the fact that there's a spirit and a cohesiveness to Mooers which is special anywhere. The students are fantastic, the spirit in the community is great, and I just want to say that I'm so glad that I picked this area to have my career, because I see so many former students out there, but I'm just very happy that I picked this area, and Mooers is part of that. And there's such a good community here that this doesn't surprise me at all. When Tim talked to me about raising funds, and Art called me up and said, you know, we really need to have you here, I said, no problem. All right. So, this is a resolution commemorating the 101st anniversary. I get a lot of questions about that when I put this up. Why isn't it the 100th or whatever? But anyway, so I went through the story with them. This is sponsored by myself, Mr. Beach, Mr. Day, Mr. Henry, and Mr. Hall. Whereas it is the sense of this legislative body to recognize the quality and character of life in the communities, and is reflective of certain exemplary institutions whose purpose is dedicated to serving the community and the needs of its citizenry, and attendant to such concerns and in full accord with the long-standing tradition of the Clinton County Legislature, it is justly proud to commemorate the 101st anniversary of the Mooers Free Library, to be celebrated today. And whereas for 101 years, the Mooers Free Library has strived to serve its community and cultivate knowledge, promote curiosity, and inspire lifelong learning. And through the years, the Mooers Free Library has enjoyed great success and accomplished numerous goals. And equally commendable are the Mooers Free Library skilled staff, whose involvement is and always has been characterized by an impressive commitment, an unbridled enthusiasm, and an uncompromising standard of excellence in all of its efforts on behalf of the library and the population it serves. Steeped in a proud and distinguished history, the Mooers Free Library may take pride in its purposeful growth as it looks forward to continuing to serve the educational, cultural, and intellectual needs of the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Clinton County Legislature pause in its deliberations and commemorate the 101st anniversary of the Mooers Free Library. And be further resolved that a copy of this resolution will be suitably engrossed and transmitted to the Mooers Free Library. And this is what we have here to be hung in the hall. And Tim, I'll present this to you. Congratulations to you. And all the people involved. Thank you very much.
Now we have State Assemblyman, Assembly District 115, Billy Jones.
Good afternoon. I can't tell you what a privilege it is to be here. And I'm not going to say very much because everything else was said before me that I feel as well. But I can think of one word that Supervisor Menard said, and that's community. And on events like this, when we're dedicating such a fabulous building, that's all we can think about, or all I can think about, is community and how you have all come together to put this beautiful building together. Past board members, present board members, everyone in the community just came together. I was here last year at this time during the construction of it with a few board members and Art and the supervisor, and to see the progress of this, it's just such a wonderful thing. And I will tell you, when we are down putting a budget together, and the senator knows this because this is one of her priorities too. We always make sure to make sure that our library funding is put in there, and we always try to increase it as well. And that's because we realize how important it is to the community, and how important it is to the education. The superintendent and the principal before me had said how important it is to our children to see them develop, to see them come to the libraries. And in this age, I think when the superintendent was speaking, somebody probably caught me on my phone. And in this age that our children and our young adults are on these so much, to have them come into this community center, open up a book and just read a book of how, it seems like it's getting to be a forgotten thing to do, but we really need to stress how important that is, and how you've worked to create this community center and this library for your children, for your people in your community. I just want to commend you on that. I can't tell you how important it is and how special of a day this really is. So I do have a resolution or a citation, and I did question this as well, Harry, when I was we were putting it together. In honor of the Mooers Free Library on their 101st birthday and in celebration of their new location. Whereas the Mooers Free Library was established in 1917, and whereas it is a privilege of the New York State Assembly to recognize the quality and character of life in the communities across the great state of New York, is reflective of certain exemplary institutions whose purpose is dedicated to serving the North Country and the needs of the citizenry. And whereas libraries are an invaluable asset to their communities and offer various programs and services that enrich the lives of all that utilize them. Whereas the Mooers Free Library was established in its new home at 25 School Street due to the diligent hard work of staff and library board members, which has resulted in a widely appreciated new location. Whereas the Mooers Free Library will be widely attended and utilized by those throughout the community, and now therefore be it resolved that I, Assemblyman Billy Jones, do hereby join the community in congratulating the Mooers Free Library on its new location and for the multiple contributions to our community over the past 101 years. Thank you very much.
Senator of the 45th Senate District, Betty Little.
Thank you. I too am pleased to be here to celebrate this new location and 101 years of library service to this community. But as I was sitting there, I started thinking about 101 years ago in 1917 and the folks who gathered. None of them are here today, but I imagine they are ancestors of many of you who are here today. And as they gathered, they determined the importance of a library to a community. They determined that it was important for educational purposes, for children, for adults, and for all who lived in this community. And today, the same feeling is here, because you have decided that a better location, a better building, more opportunities. You know, with the internet, how many of you heard books are dead? Now, no one's going to read books anymore. You got a Kindle, you need to. That's not true. Libraries have actually grown in what they do for people. There are children that don't have internet, Wi-Fi at home, spend time in this parking lot after school doing some work so that they can get that. They learn about computers here. Preschool moms, when I had 4 children under 4, the library was the place I went. And I have to tell one story. One of my sons, who is now 50, had a book that he liked. It was Joan Walsh Anglin. It was called The Littlest Cowboy. I don't know if our name was Little that affected it, but this was his favorite book. And we would go to the library. First thing he had to get it before the story hour. And then when we go back, he'd go to the story hour and return the book. And then next time he came back, we do the same thing. So then one year, I thought, trying to think of things for Christmas gifts. Well, I'll buy him his own copy of the book. I spoiled the whole thing. It was all about the library and getting that book in the library and doing it on his own and all of that. So very, very important to new parents who have young children to be able to come to the library. And what you have designed here is so inviting. The wall paintings and all, they're just lovely and they're so welcoming, and that's important to this. I'm also joined today by a colleague of mine, Sharon. I just saw her. Where are you, Sharon? No, she had Sharon Henderson, who was in my office. And when I was first elected to the Senate, one thing about going from the minority in the Assembly to the majority in the Senate was you got money. It was a big thing. And Sharon came to work for me, and she had this idea about patron grants. And she said, why don't we give every library in our district a patron grant? And we call them patron grants because you can do whatever you think your patrons need. And there's no regulations. The money comes through the system. Ava has been good about seeing that it was distributed. And I think, to show you the size of my district, I think we have 53 or 54 libraries in the 45th Senate District. And we have just had so much fun being able to do that. Some years we've had 2,500, some 2, some 15. I can always tell what's going on in Albany by how much money they get, I guess. But it just, they are so grateful. And, you know, we do a lot of things, and we always say, well, we think it worked because we didn't hear from those people again. So, but the library people all are so grateful to get this money because they know the need. And especially for a small library, it means a lot more than it does to the Plattsburgh City Library. But we're grateful to be able to do that. But thank you, everyone who participated. The land, the building, the bricks, the books, and everything that you've done to raise money and see that this community of Moores has a first-class library. Thank you very much.
Representing Congresswoman Elise Stefanik for the U.S. New York 21st District, Joel Wood.
Thank you for that introduction, Tim, and thank you to Art, Tim, and the entire board for inviting and having us here today. That's quite a tough act to follow, especially when I'm not an elected, but I'll do my best. The Congresswoman definitely regrets that she's not able to be here today to celebrate this wonderful milestone and achievement with all of you. However, she did want me to be here on her behalf and read a speech that she wrote that will be literally written into the history books. This will be read on the floor of the U.S. Capitol, entered into the congressional record for individuals to go to their library, pull the congressional record, and be able to see this speech. So it's pretty neat. And it reads, Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor and recognize the Mooers Free Library on its 101st anniversary. Since its founding in 1917, the Mooers Free Library has worked to provide the community with free access to the world of information and ideas to enhance community life. The Mooers Free Library is part of the Clinton, Essex, Franklin library system, which allows residents to request books from the library in the Tri-County area, as well as links the library to a worldwide network of books. In order to meet the public's advancing intellectual and cultural needs, just last year, the Mooers Free Library opened a brand new building with an updated book collection, new computers, and after-school program for children. As Mooers Free Library continues to prosper, the community grows alongside it. On behalf of New York's 21st District, I want to congratulate the Mooers Free Library on its 101st anniversary and thank all those dedicated individuals who work there for their tireless commitment to serving Moores. Thank you.
Just for a second, I'm going to change hats. Last year, Woodman Life, the put up the flagpole, and that's Chapter 462 of Woodland Life. And we are presenting today a plaque in honor and remembrance of the heroes and victims in the fight against terrorism, and to celebrate the enduring spirit of all Americans. And that's presented by Woodland Life. And we'll change hats again. As mentioned earlier, the new library wouldn't be in this location if not for the generous donation of land by Dr. Wayne and Susan Evans. Susan served for many years on the library board and held the position as president. We are happy to dedicate the grounds of the new library to them, and we thank them again for their generous gift. As time goes by, we hope to develop the grounds into a park and have community gardens here as well. And you'll see in the front a beautiful stone with a beautiful marker honoring the Evans. And if you would come up. Thank you. Anything you'd like to say?
I think it turned out gorgeous.
Thank you for all you've done. Absolutely. The names Paul and Elizabeth Vogan are synonymous in the town of Mooers with the school across the way and the library. They were a large part of this community for decades. Paul was a noted educator with many professional honors, and Elizabeth served the library as librarian and a board member for over 4 decades. Given their many years of service to the community, specifically education and library, and the location of this new building just across from the school, looking at each other, as well as the generosity of their family as we work to complete this project, we proudly dedicate this building as the Paul and Elizabeth Vogan Memorial Building. And we have members of the Vogan family here today, and I'd like to ask them to come forward. Would anyone like to say?
Oh, gifts. What's a party without gifts?
Art, I'm going to need your help up here.
Did you want to say anything? So, hi, I'm Pam Lynch, Pam Vogan Lynch. I'm the youngest Vogan. My brother John, the second son, and my brother Robert, the first son. Our sister Carolyn lives in Texas, a little too far, and Jim is living in Orchard Park. And they've been supporters, just not here today. So we're representing the family, and we are so thrilled to see that plaque on the building that has our parents' name. And I won't be able to read this, okay? Just so you know. But we have all kinds of information here. Were either of you going to read it?
People have been sitting in
It's a long, okay. Well, just let me give you just a little bit then, and if I can't get through it, then I'll try to cut it short, because it's very hot there on the tarmac, I understand. Paul Emerson Vogan, our father, was born in Sandy Lake, Pennsylvania in 1910. He graduated from Sandy Lake High School and continued his education at Houghton. He was hired here to teach math and science in the Mooers buildings. And about 2 years later, I believe, our mother arrived. She was born in Geneva. Her name is Elizabeth Corden Vogan, eventually. And she came to teach English and do some library work as well in the schools. And they met and dated, and a few years later were married in 1937. Their union produced 5 children, 3 of whom are here today. The thing about... Oh, yes, and get this. They were so dedicated. graduated, okay? They went to graduation services and then eloped after graduation. So she only had to buy the one dress, I guess. I don't know. But that's another story. They made their home here in Mooers and were stalwart supporters of the community, dedicated to the service to the community through their various careers as well as their lives in the church, schools, and just in general in the public, serving on many boards and advisory councils and things like that. I'm really consolidating here. Alrighty, Paul Bogan passed away in his 97th year in 2007, and Elizabeth, our mother, passed in her 100th year in 2012. And they are survived by their children and spouses, 12 grandchildren, 28 great-grandchildren, and 4 great-great-grandchildren. And I know they are smiling today. Okay, so yes, when we found out about the dedication and everything, there were a few things we thought would be appropriate to give to you as a community and for the library. And one of them is this. So, gifts to people you need to open. Because names on a wall, sometimes it's nice to also have something to put with the names.
This is Art Menard.
You don't have to reuse it, you can just... Okay. And I think this is probably a picture that my brother Bob took at one time. He takes a lot of pictures. Both of my brothers are phenomenal photographers, and you have to be careful around them. Okay, so that's for wherever you would like to put it. This is something weird that you don't expect, so who gets to open that? Do we have... Okay, you go right up there, and you open that. Yes, be on camera. Better you than me.
It's a box.
It is a box. And you have to open the box. Okay, some of you may be familiar with the online site called Shutterfly. You can create your own personalized books. And so I just grabbed a bunch of old photographs from different years of different things about the library and kind of put them together. And inside the back cover, there's a whole area for you to maybe jot a note or your name, being here at the dedication, make it part of history, keep it in the library, and then there'll be a record of who is here, and if you have any little library memories of the old building or my parents or other adventures in the library, sanctioned or otherwise, you can put them in there. Okay? And then this is the last gift.
While he's opening that, she won't tell you what the murals in the library she painted when she was a teenager.
Oh, the old library.
Just for the memories. You have some wall space that needs some decoration. It's important to note that Pam painted this picture.
Absolutely. Hand painted this.
Yeah, it's a watercolor. I'm retired. I was an educator for 35 years. Kind of came by that honestly, as many of my siblings did as well. And our spouses are here today representing the family as well. My brother Bob's wife Ruth over here, and my brother John. His wife Maudley is in there being cool. Maudley wave. She's in there. And my husband Richard is over here in the front. And I'm so thrilled. I just have to say one more thing, then I'll get go away. Sharon Dutil, Pratt Dutil, has been my friend since we were probably pulling each other's hair in first grade or something, and has always been a close friend of mine. And I'm so proud to say that she and her new daughter-in-law, Erin, are going to be serving the community as members of the library board. Yes? Friends of the library. Friends of the library. There's all these distinctions. So the more friends the library can have, the better it is. That's what I'm saying. So I'm all done.
So one last thing, and that's a very long list of thank yous. So before I start, if I missed anybody, I apologize in advance. But the large donations, the Paul and Elizabeth Vogan family, Dr. Wayne and Susan Evans, S&B's Construction for their time, their talent, and their patience throughout this entire process. They've been great. They've been good at waiting for money, and they've just been fantastic. This wouldn't, I mean, you look at this building, this is their handiwork. Ron and Wally, just wonderful, wonderful work. Sample lumber for materials donated at cost, 80K engraving for time and talent, and the design of the wall back here, that was them, and they did such a wonderful job of getting it in here at the end of the week before our celebration. Lee Appliance donated flooring, and carpet was donated at cost. Sample lumber materials at cost. Ace Hardware for paint. Rainbow Wedding and Banquet Hall, a large donation. Cornerstone Drug, a large donation. Don and Beverly Sears, Sandra Neverett, large donation. Donations in memory of Cecile Lapeer and in memory of Viola Lemire. And anyone who purchased a brick or just brought some money in and helped out and helped to keep this thing moving and get us where we are today. CEFLS, great support for the daily functioning of the library, providing training, enrichment workshops, invaluable help with grant processing, and everything else that they do, just making this library that much better because of the resources that we can tap into because of being part of CEFLS. The town of Mooers for operating aid, for help with maintaining the property, overall support for the library and getting us here. Town board member Dick Boris, many hours of volunteer labor. This walkway here, landscaping, just thank you, Dick. Gerald LaValle, painting and every other thing. You hope Dick here. Gerald's been here to help throughout getting this process moving and finishing this library, and we appreciate that. Jim Bennett, professional advice regarding the library design. He came in and helped us figure out what to do when we really didn't know what to do. Moore's Lawn and Garden for planting and mulching. Edie Morlott, she helped stabilize and guide the library operations until a permanent director was hired when we came on board. Library Director Olivia Gillette, she's doing a fantastic job, and she will continue to do a fantastic job. I think the interior of that library has been moved around about 4 or 5 times. Just her. But we're getting there, and we've got new furniture coming and everything else, and she's going to be instrumental in making sure that it's a welcoming environment for everyone. Our former library directors, our former board members, and those that paved the way to get us here, we are in your debt. And finally, celebration help. I don't want to miss that. Dutils, Stewards, our volunteers, Joan Bosley, Gloria LaFountain, the Friends of the Library, Norma, and all of the officers of the Friends of the Library. We're thrilled to have you, and we need more friends. So if anybody wants to come and help out, we'd be glad to have you on committee to help raise money to help just continue the efforts and the programming of the library. And then lastly, and absolutely not least, Art Menard, get over here. My board members, my current board members, please come forward. have done this, we couldn't be here. I couldn't do my job without all of these people. And I want to give a special shout out to Mr. Art Bernard, who, if something needed to be done, Art was going to do it. And Art took care of so many things and helped keep every little cog in this wheel going. And we're here. And it took a while from when we started to get here. And there were times when we weren't sure we were going to get here, but we are here. And this beautiful building is here for this community to enjoy. It's just amazing. And another thank you to Calvin Castine and Hometown Cable for always being around when we needed to get the word out. And the last and final thank you is to all of you for this community who came together and made this happen. And we thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause. And one last thank you to our elected officials for being here. So I think there's still some more food. Lots of food and ice cream.
I'd like to step over and become a friend of the library.
What's that?
I said I'd like to step up and become a friend of the library.
Come on right over
On
here.
behalf of JP Signs, I'd like to donate $500 to, you looks like you have a bunch of new projects coming for a new sign. If you'd like one out front or something to dedicate the new facilities that you're doing, I'd love to be a part of it.
Thank you. Our president is right here. Thank you all.
All right, Jess Boyer from JP Signs. Okay, we're going to take a brief look inside. Here's the community room. Free books, it says. Help yourself to free books today, September 15th. So, free book day. You missed it. Outside the library room, as you see, there's a whole lot of workstations there for access to the internet. The building is located across from the school. Elementary school is right across the street in that direction there. The librarian is hard at work. These look more like DVDs, or maybe not any VHS tapes left, although there might be. But lots of books in different categories. Yay, fiction, paperbacks. As we bid adieu to this event and head back to the 16th annual Roxy Luann Memorial Tournament, we'll look at the library hours: Monday 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., Tuesday 11 to 6, and Saturday 9 to 1. Closed Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday, also holidays, as you might expect. I'll bet they're not open on New Year's Day either. So that'll wrap it up. Look at the great ceremonies here. I might even grab an ice cream before I leave. Right across from the Mooers Elementary School. September 12th, 2018. Thanks for watching and supporting viewer-supported local television, Hometown Cable TV, worthy of your support.
I don't think I got that.